Let's bring in John Sculley, former Apple CEO. John, good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Did he achieve what he needed to?
I think he did a great job. I think the performance of Mark Zuckerberg showed that he was well prepared, he was thoughtful in his responses, and he was dealing with a group of questioners who really, in many cases, didn't know much about technology or much about Facebook. So I think he did it with great courtesy. Yeah,
that was pretty obvious, some of the questions that they had. Did you notice at the end when they asked him, can you think of some other CEOs that maybe we should bring to Capitol Hill? I mean, I feel like they haven't had enough of this kind of experience where they'd really like to go after more people in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, you know, what I think about is that if they were to hold these hearings 2 years from now, I think the line of questions would be quite different, because what didn't really come out quite so clearly is that the social media world is rapidly changing. What it's changing to is a much bigger priority on machine learning. And machine learning is not just about the privacy of your specific data. It's about the metadata. It's about the interpretation of data that's being done with algorithms which are using probability statistics.
So effectively in 2 years, this problem goes away because it solves itself in some respects?
Well, it's going to be a different set of issues. I mean, I think to a large extent, it's not so much about exposing people's individual data. In fact, by then, we'll start to see probably more hearings around medical data, around financial data, and probably not so much about behavioral data and things of that sort. I do think that what would still be in the agenda, unless it's been solved, is what about teenagers? This came up several times over the last 2 days. I know in my case, my grandchildren don't have permission to go online when they're early teens. I know Steve Jobs' children never did, and many other people who know about technology have pretty strict control, parental control over their kids going on these types of services. Now, that would have a lot of impact on Instagram, obviously, because Instagram focuses on young people.
You think Tim Cook goes to Capitol Hill?
Well, I think Tim Cook is becoming a media star. I sort of wonder whether he isn't running for president. I mean, he's very articulate, has strong points of view. He's highly respected. You know, he talked about the other day, he was on television for quite some time, and he talked about privacy being a right, not just something that companies.
Some people thought he was holier than thou. They worried. Well, I mean, if you were sitting in that seat, would you have been as critical of Mark Zuckerberg and I don't know if bragging is the right word about not using data? You know, you're not the product.
Well, we're all different. I'm very respectful of Mark Zuckerberg. I think he's done a terrific job. I love what he's built. And by the way, I think social media is still in the early days.
Sure.
It'd be like sitting back in 2006 before Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone and trying to talk about, so exactly what is the world of technology going to be like? And we didn't even know what the big disruptors were. Social media is still in the early days of disruption. Mark Zuckerberg is clearly a leader, so I'd be much more complimentary of Mark.
Always good to talk to you, John. Thank you, John Sculley.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.